Welcome. It's week 2, so you know what that means. It was time for Thursday Night Football. It was the Commanders versus Packers yesterday, and let's talk about it. All I want to say is defense is king. How can you stop them Packers? So let's talk about it. Yesterday, it was Thursday Night Football. Packers in the white unis, while the Commanders were the visiting team on town. Uh, this game was all defense for mostly this whole game. Especially for the Packers side, I think right now the Packers has the probably one of the better defense in the NFL right now, and they have showed it time in and time out. Jordan Love played exceptionally well. He went 19 for 31 for 292 yards and 2 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs led in rushing with 23 carries, 84 yards, and 1 touchdown. Mind you, Tucker Craft might be one of the better tight ends, underrated as hell, because he had 6 receptions for 124 yards, and a touchdown. Look at this stat lines: 7 tackles for with a sack, 5, 4, 3. Like they got two Daniels right here. Hell, even Mika had a sack, well, half a sack in the game. While the Commanders, they struggled a lot on offensively, and this is going to be a case, especially with this. Of course, Jaden Daniels had 24 completions for 42 tosses for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. But right here is what we have to talk about. Austin Eckler, 8 carries, 17 yards. He gets hurt. He tore his Achilles. I think he's going to be out for the season. I don't think they gave us a length amount of time. I don't know. I didn't check that much. I never really heard about it after that. But I think he's going to be out for a season, which is going to be a damn killer for the Commanders because he's a great running back. You know, he is a little older, but he's still a crafty guy on the backfield. So yeah, Zach uh, Zach Ertz had led in receiving with 6 receptions for 64 yards and 1 touchdown. While also Debo had 7 receptions for 44 yards and a touchdown. Um, the thing is about the Commanders, I've been saying this for a while. About the Commanders, yes, they are probably one of the better teams, but right now it seems like this is where the problem lies, and it's that offensive line and here on the defense because their secondary, as well as it looks stacked. They're not as good as what people thought they would be. Yeah, this defense is okay. If you just look at it on paper, they should be a better team, but if you watch them play, they are terrible for some reason, and it's kind of sad because I mean you can say it's because of age. You know, a lot of them are kind of older than what you guys kind of think it is, but it's funny to really do that. But also another thing is going to be the offensive line because Jaden Daniels got sacked a couple of times in this game, while basically they only sacked um, Jordan Love like twice in the game. And that's going to be a problem for the Commanders because if the Commanders want to go deep into the playoffs or even just become a better team, a better seeded team than they were last year, they're going to need an offensive line, especially with the receiving core that they have. And a guy like Jaden Daniels, who is a scrambling quarterback, you're going to need blockers to not only help him get yardage, but also to not have him get hurt. And that's the problem here, I think, for the Commanders. Now that we're seeing it early on in the season, could they fix it later on? I say by trade deadline, they try to get a couple offensive linemen and maybe trade for some defense. But for the Packers right now, the only concern about the Packers is also offensive line, but also just um, it's probably more of play style. You guys are too pass heavy, and I think right now you're facing teams that you can easily run the football. Yeah, Josh Jacobs, he did have 23 carries, but you still threw the ball 31 times. Yeah, yes, Jordan Love is a pretty great quarterback, but at the same time, it's you know you need to you can't rely on the defense a lot. You're gonna need some offense, and we haven't seen the offense really pop off. You can say week 1 they kind of did, but that's because they kept getting a lot of good field coverage and field off their defense. So for them, they're gonna need to rely on this and a lot, and also rely on special teams, which hasn't worked a lot. I mean, Ryan McManus missed a field goal, but they're gonna need to rely on that, especially with uh they play Cleveland next week, the Packers, and I don't think they need to worry. But I'm pretty sure week 4 they play. If I remember right, they should be playing the Vikings or the Bears. No, they play Packers. Packers play the Cowboys. God, never mind. They don't play an actual competent team until week. Fucking, damn, week 5. Oh, they get a fucking. I don't even know. They don't play a competent team until week 6, where they play the Bengals. Which I mean, that one should also kind of be an easy win, especially for that offensive line that I've been saying about the Bengals needs to be worked on. So right now, I want to see this offensive line for the Packers kind of get better because even though they didn't give up a lot of sacks, they did pressure Jordan Love in a way, and especially with a Browns defense that is still top tier. This should be a goddamn time that you basically try to change some things. I'm not saying they're gonna make a lot of moves during the trade deadline. They might, you might hear them think about trading somebody, but not right now. But for the Commanders, they definitely do because they need help if they want to go far into the playoffs. Because what? Yeah, they scored 15 points in the fourth quarter, but to get shut out in 2 out of the 4 quarters and only score 3 in the second, it's kind of ridiculous for them. So yeah, I don't see really right now the Commanders, if they keep playing like this, they're not. I don't even think they might even make it into playoffs. I mean, maybe they might because they still in a weak division with them and the Eagles basically fighting for #1 spot. But I mean, look at the Cowboys. They played actually good on Thursday. So if they play good on week 2, this Sunday, who knows? The sky's the limit. So yeah, this is all about. Um, I've been saying this a lot. The concerns on defense for most of these teams. I know it's still early, it's week 2, but still, there's a lot of teams that I still see with offensive line and in defensive work. So yeah, I'll be back Monday with the Sunday night games. Just I hope. And one other thing, New England